the FMK 9C1 G2. Let's check it out. There are a lot of different budget handguns on the market, and many of them are good, some of them are not so good. And today we're going to take a look at the FMK 9C1 Gen 2. Of course, the Gen 2 means that they had a previous Gen 1 which was plagued with some problems. And so we're going to take a look at the Gen 2, see how reliable it is, look at all the different things about this pistol, and really see if this is up to a self-defense handgun option. Now, I've been looking at the FMK for about 3 years, and one of the things that really caught my attention was one of their Bill of Rights guns, which has the entire Bill of Rights on the side of the slide. And these guys are very freedom-minded. It's one of the things that I really like about the company. Even on this plain Jane model, proudly American, right here on the extractor. Thank you, Armed Forces. They're very patriotic. And you know, I really like that this company really takes that really seriously. And from everything I understand about the company, they do. They're very proud of this gun being made in America, making a really reasonably priced firearm that's, you know, high quality. And so this gun, though, and one of the reasons I think that this is probably close to their heart, is they're one of the only two companies that are making modern firearms in California. Two new designs, Ruger being one, and then of course the FMK. They are in the People's Republic of California, which, you know, things have gotten even worse as far as the gun laws there. But one of the things we're going to do first, of course, is make sure the gun is unloaded, remove the magazine, double check the chamber is empty. Now it comes with two steel magazines with a polymer base pad. They are 14-in-1 or they're 10-in-1, according to, you know, of course, the state that you're living in. You can get the magazines on the FMK website, and they're about $31.95. Now, FMK comes in two different configurations. It comes in the single action, which has the trigger shoe here, and it does come in the double action only, which just has more of a trigger that comes out. Probably one of the reasons why this trigger guard is larger. Now, it does come with a polymer frame, which is typical for most of your modern firearms today. The grip itself is very ergonomic. I really like the way that this comes down with this rubberized shock absorber, is a recoil reducer right here. And then it kind of divots in here on the grip, and then the front has these serrations that allow for, you know, a fairly decent grip. Now with this rubber in the back, it really helps to get a firm grip on the pistol. The texturing here is really pretty soft. I mean, it's a very smooth finish. The slide is a high carbon steel with kind of a matte finish to it, and it's very smooth. And I mean, it is like silk almost. It's one of the things about this pistol when I first picked it up. It just felt very comfortable, very silky. Now, one of the problems with that is if you're racking this slide, the serrations on the slide seem to be fairly shallow, but I haven't had any problems racking it back. But this finish is really nice. I'm curious to see how it'll hold up over time. Now, the barrel is 4 inches in length, very similar to the Glock 19. It is stainless steel, and it does not have the polygonal groove, so you are going to be able to shoot reloads. The sights themselves, very Glock again looking, but what's really cool is that these are compatible with Glock 19 sights. So any aftermarket sights, night sights, things like that will go on this pistol. Here we have the accessory rail right here and the serial number in a plate. The takedown levers and we'll look at it when we break down. They're a little more subdued than your Glock, but yet your slide release is a little larger, but still very close to the frame. Everything is very similar to the reasons why I really love the Glock, is that everything is smooth and there's just not a lot going on. I like simplicity. The rubberized back strap is comfortable. I mean, I'll have to give them that, and it does give you a little more gripability because of the tackiness of the rubber, which isn't anything extravagant. It just is there, which normal rubber would have that. But it does feel really good in the hand, and with this little bump here, hump, to me it gives it more of a CZ75 feel to it, which is one of the most ergonomic grips to me out on the market. It does offer drop-free magazines, and of course with the steel mag in the polymer, it definitely helps to get that lubricity a little bit more than it would with a polymer magazine. And of course your base plate. Very light finger grooves in between the serrations. The mag release is a little bit large, but it doesn't protrude too much out. I don't think you're inadvertently going to hit it with the grip of the pistol. You have to really, in fact, you have to actually adjust just a little bit, and it has to go straight down. It is not ambidextrous though because of the cut in the frame. And it has FMK marked right here on the frame. A little bit closer look, proudly American, and again, thank you Armed Forces. Now, as far as trigger pull goes, it is very similar to the Glock with the blade. They call this the FAT trigger, which is for fast action trigger. It is a single action. Here we're going to have a little bit of take up, some stacking, and then the break. It is somewhat similar to the Glock, but again it's heavier. We're going to check reset right here, audible, and come right back. We're going to check the trigger pull with our Lyman trigger gauge. 6 pounds 12 ounces. 6 pounds 7 ounces. 6 pounds 7.5 ounces. So pretty consistent trigger pull. If you get the double action version, from what I understand, it can be about 8.5 pounds. In fact, in California and in Massachusetts, you're only allowed to have this with the double action trigger pull, which is absolutely ridiculous. But that's the way it goes. Now, if you have one of the double action triggers, you can switch out. If you live in a free state, you can get one of the single action triggers. And I think they're about $69. It's just a drop-in system. Right here on the back is a loaded chamber indicator marked in red, and it says loaded if out. Now when it's flush, of course, there's nothing in the chamber. Adding a dummy round to the magazine, just go ahead and try this out. Here you can see that the loaded chamber indicator is out. It's tactile, you can feel it. Of course, firing the gun in this position will not relieve that. You've got to actually take the round out. And now it's flush again. Now, just one side note, this is a really long extractor. I'm not sure why they did that, but it's definitely long, and of course maybe it was just so they could put proudly American on here. The weight on the FMK is about 24 ounces, just a touch over as far as this version. It's 6.85 inches in total length, and it's 5.09 inches in height, and then 1.14 inches in width. So it's a very compact pistol, and obviously very close to the Glock 19. Of course, there are a lot of comparisons between the 9C1 and the Glock 19. And here I have, of course, two sitting side by side. I would be remiss not to bring in the Glock 19 for sure. One of the big things about this is the guns are actually just the same size. I mean, pretty much overall length, width, the barrel length's 4 inches on both, and even the trigger system very close. But one major difference is the grip angle, where the Glock just kind of comes straight down with a small little rise here. The FMK definitely has more of an angle right here. It's going to be a much different grip angle, much deeper cut right here. And of course, this is a Gen 3, and with Gen 4s, you know, you're going to have some other options with your grip panels or your back strap. But you can definitely see there's a pretty major difference. Also with the FMK, you have a little larger trigger guard, whereas the Glock is squared off and a little smaller. Both triggers have the trigger safety. This was a little bit wider on the FMK, and but you know, very similar in operation. With the slide cuts of the 9C1, it definitely has more thinness up here, and with the Glock is more of a blocky setup. And you know, that just, this allows a little bit easier holstering. I think maybe a little more balance. So, you know, but really the Glock is just a proven design. It's one of the reasons why the FMK really follows closely to it. Now, I have some Talon grips on the Glock 19, but as far as the overall feel, the FMK definitely has a little more ergonomic feel to it. The Glock has never been known to be super ergonomic. Now, for me, I've been shooting Glocks since they came out, so in the 1980s. And I am very used to this grip. You know, it feels at home for me. And I have a lot of time invested with the Glock pistol. And many of you out there do. But, you know, there are some better grip systems out. And the FMK has definitely capitalized on that. The trigger guard does come up just a little bit more, whereas in the Glock, now I've actually trimmed this area right here on the 19, which I do with all my Glocks. It gives me a little more of a higher grip for a better bore axis, and this has still, even though this is trimmed, this seems to have a little more area right here for me to bring my hand up. Now here from the back, I believe the Glock is a little bit lower on the bore axis than the FMK. Just being able to grip this, you can see it for yourself. And then again, you know, using whatever aftermarket Glock sights for your 9C1, you know, that makes it a really nice advantage. As far as magazines, you know, you have your polymer magazine 15-in-1 for your standard Glock 19, and then 14-in-1 with the FMK. And again, you can go with 10-round magazines for either one of these in states that are not so free. But one of the biggest differences between these two pistols is the price. Your Glock typically runs between $475 and $525, $550, according if it's Gen 3 or Gen 4. With the FMK, these retail for $409 on the FMK website. But what I'm seeing as far as price goes is between the $350, $375 range. So you've got at least $100, $150 difference between the two pistols. But one thing that Glock definitely has a huge advantage of is a track record of being super reliable. The FMK, you know, we're going to see, I haven't even taken this out to the range yet. I've read some things here and there, maybe some of the earlier gens. This is the Gen 2, so we're going to check out the reliability. But guys, when it comes to reliability, that is one of the end-alls for a gun. If it's not reliable, you know, you can't have that for a self-defense gun. The box is excellent, and close foam padding, of course your pistol and the second magazine, which I've put somewhere else, some oil. But one of the things that's really unique is they have an extra set of sights. And these are 3-dot, and they are, again, compatible with your Glock 19. Also, a really nice owner's manual included with the box, and it is in color. Accuracy on the 9C1 was exceptional. And even with the little bit of a heavier trigger, the ergonomics of the gun and the sights, of course, are very Glock-like. It just shot very well. Now typically at the range, after I do my accuracy shooting on my target, I'll talk about it right there on the range. But I didn't have my camera on. So what we were shooting at about 7 yards, and it was with Freedom munitions, 115 grain, full metal jacket, and easy to see targets, which are great targets. Now at the range, this gun is a pleasure to shoot, and a lot of it has to do with that back strap. I mean, it really does reduce the felt recoil. It makes it really comfortable. Shooting one-handedly, which typically, you know, you're not used to it and it can kind of jump around, but it seemed to be pretty steady. I mean, I was really pleased with it. In fact, typically I turn just a touch, just like you're pointing a finger when I fire, and I didn't do that until after about the 3rd or 4th round when it just occurred to me. So it was still shooting very naturally. Of course, no malfunctions, even with about 200 rounds of ammunition that we fired using Freedom munitions. Not one hiccup. The only thing that we had any kind of issue with was magazine not holding back after the last round. And the first 3 or 4 magazines it did that, and then it started holding back. So hopefully that just worked itself out. But really, I had read quite a bit about malfunctions and the reliability of this pistol, but I had zero malfunctions. I'm very pleased with it. I don't know if they've worked out the bugs. I know initially with the Gen 1 there were some issues, but then of course the Gen 2 denotes that they've taken care of some things. So I've had nothing but good success except for the magazine just not holding open after the last rounds. The grip angle was very natural. It feels really good in the hand, very ergonomic. You know, it almost feels like the Walther CCP. It has that really good ergonomic feel to it. And I'll tell you guys, with the rubber back here, it was just a pleasure to shoot. Okay, we're going to disassemble the pistol, remove the magazine, make sure the gun is unloaded. First thing we have to do is to pull the trigger, just like on the Glock. There are two tabs right here, so we're going to bring the slide back just a little bit, about 1/8 of an inch. Pull down on those tabs, and then just release your barrel, and slide comes out. Then we take the guide rod, which is a captive spring. It is polymer. Barrel comes right out. Again, very similar to the Glock. Here we have the striker and the firing pin disconnect, or firing pin safety. You can see the inside, very closely related or inspired heavily. But that is a very proven design. Slide rails here and here, and it's very well done. I mean, the pistol is definitely well machined. And that's all you have to do to field strip the pistol. Just reassemble in reverse order. Place our barrel, guide rod with a little tab out, and we just put it right back on the slide, and we're good to go. Now, as we demonstrated the trigger, one of the things I was concerned about getting to the range was it would affect accuracy. Because of that little bump, you know, at the range I just didn't notice it. You know, and really in a combat handgun, you're not really shooting bullseye. You're really trying to get rounds into the torso. But really, I'll tell you, it was just, I just didn't notice it. And usually if a trigger's really bad, I will definitely notice it at the range. And so I think this is really doable. I'm really sure that you can do some polishing like you can on the Glock, because the similarities are so strong between the two with their triggers. And that may be a project that we work on coming up. Now, after hearing about a lot of malfunctions, I had already done the tabletop. And I was really thinking, man, I have wasted my time. I'm going to get this pistol down here and it's going to have a bunch of problems. But guys, I'm telling you, not one single malfunction other than the slide holding back. And of course, again, that kind of just worked itself out as far as I can see. Now what we're going to do is we're going to run some more ammunition through it in an upcoming review, and I'm going to put it head to head with the Glock 19, not just on the table but at the range, just seeing how well it functions. And we'll see how reliable this gun is in the long run. And again, made in America. Even though it's made in the People's Republic of California, it's definitely a bastion of liberty there in that state. But guys, I have to say, I really admire those guys for sticking it out, because the environment there is so anti-gun, and it's getting worse and worse. So, you know, FMK, guys, as far as I'm concerned, you're doing a great job, and we're going to continue to see what comes of this little gem of a pistol. And I thought it was very appropriate to wear my Father's Day hat for my daughter, "Don't Tread on Me" Gadsden flag, to go along with this pistol. So the FMK 9C1 Generation 2, thumbs way up. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America, long live the Republic. They call this the FAT. Okay. But with this, the grip angle is very natural, and again with that rubber butt strap, because I know it's not hard, because I know it's very difficult being in that kind of. Pull down on your tabs, and then just release. Using Freedom Munitions 9mm 115 grain jacketed hollow points. I was not using jacketed hollow points, I was using full metal jacket. Get it right. Rubber dummy, you're so fun. Wonder what Ernie would think about rubber dummy in the bathtub. Hello, Bert.